Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear sisters. The message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Please post for me, but hide my identity. I am a woman who is aged 32 years old. My husband passed away a very long time ago, and when my husband passed away, I then moved to Harare, the capital city of our country. And I hope that my story, it is going to serve as a warning to the ladies out there. Please be careful. Once you meet a man that will just suddenly come into your life, you need to be skeptical about that man. Don't just believe in love at first sight, otherwise you are going to cry like what happened to me. I am in pain, Brother Nashi. I do not even know what I am supposed to do. There was a man who stole all of my money. So I had been saving my money, not in the bank, but underneath my pillow for 5 months. Ever since that I had came to Harare after I had settled down, and when I was now able to send my kids to school back home in our village from where I come from, because I grew up in a village that is called Kokwe. So I was staying with my parents until I was in Form 4. When I was in Form 4, I then got married. My husband, he was a teacher. He was teaching at this other school there in Kokwe. So I don't know what kind of witchcraft happened, but my husband, he suddenly started to get so sick. This was soon after we had gotten married to each other, and he now had high blood pressure. With time, his arms sometimes will get so swollen, as well as his legs. That was when he started to get really sick. They said that he had TB. The next thing, he had this other disease that no one could even understand. What was said after we had gone to this other prophet was that my auntie, my father's sister, but she has since passed away. By the time that my husband died, she had already passed away. We were told that she took $20, like during the Lobola negotiations, there is that money that is given to your father, to your mother, to your sisters, as well as the aunties. So she was also amongst the aunties that were given $20 each. So that money, she didn't go and spend it. Rather, what she did was that she took the $20, then she went to a cattle kraal, then she started digging, and she placed some curses on my life, and then she just buried that $20 in her cattle kraal. Here in Koke, there are a lot of witches, and a lot of witchcraft happens even in broad daylight. Someone can bewitch you. So when we had this story, it was already too late, because that prophet said that the poison that had been inserted into my husband's body, it had already eaten most of his internal organs. We asked this prophet, how was it even possible that the doctors that had been looking at him at the hospital were not seeing what he was seeing? He then laughed and he said, so you think that these doctors can actually see some of the diseases that are created by the devil himself? Then you are naive. They cannot see. They only see the diseases that the devil wants them to see. My husband, by the time that he died, his liver had been eaten up by Brother Nashi. We could not even look at him during the body viewing, because his stomach area had been eaten up by a animal that we could not even know. That is how my husband passed away. When my husband passed away, poverty then affected me, and I could not even take care of my kids. That was when I spoke with one of my mother's elder sister. She was also working as a house girl here in Harare. When I came to Harare, that was when I fell in love with another guy who was also a garden boy, but he was working right next door. But most of the times I'll be with him. So I had never gotten that opportunity, like to go into town alone. It's either I will go with him, or I will go with my madam boss, or with the boss, just shopping. And we used to go around with his car. So I had never gone around the CBD all by my own. There was this other time, Brother Nashi, when me and my boyfriend, we had a very big fight, a big disagreement. So on that day, I said, let me go back home. I wanted to go back to the village from where I come from. Whilst I was in town, I started to feel very lazy. So these guys that rob people, they use some type of a charm. The moment that I set my eyes on this guy, I met him when I got off from the taxi. This guy looked at me and he said, "Hi, how are you?" When I responded and when I said hi, he then came to where I was and he shook my hand. The moment that he shook my hand, then I felt really lazy. All the thought of me returning back to Gokwe with all the money that I had, the money that I had saved for 5 months, I had it in my small handbag. Some of it I had placed it underneath my bra. So when I was walking around town, not knowing where I was going, there by Joina City, there is that footbridge. So I then met the guy again. It seemed as if he had been following me. He called me out and he said, "Oh, it's you again." When I looked at him, Brother Nashi, there was something that was demonic about him and attractive at the same time. He seemed to be evil and he seemed to be quite attractive. So I was very confused. I then started speaking with him and he told me that I looked like an angel and he just wanted to be with me. And at that time, the money that I had in my pocket, Brother Nashi, it was round about $800. This was the money that I wanted to go and live with my mom back home so that we can start a small chicken project. This guy, he never gave me any opportunity at all. He came and he was holding my arm as if we were lovers, and I could not even resist him, but I was actually lusting after him. The moment that he was holding me like that, I felt like I wanted to make love to him. The feeling that I was feeling at that time, even my nipples, I felt as if there was someone who was busy playing with them, and I felt like I needed to have sexual intercourse right there and there. Even in town, when people were looking at us, I didn't even care. The thing that I felt on that day, it was quite demonic. So the guy said, "You do not look okay." And I said, "Yes, I don't look okay." He said, "Can we find a place to sit?" I said, "Okay, where can we go?" So right there by Joina City, there's this other small restaurant called Chicken Inn. We went into Chicken Inn and we ordered a bucket and some fruit juice, and then we started to eat and we were like lovers. This guy, he then started to tell me that he was a very wealthy guy who actually had his house in the suburbs and he had a very big car, just that he didn't want to go around with that car on that day simply because he then told me that he was quite a wealthy guy who had a lot of cars, even though on that day he was driving a very small car, an old one. He said he does not want people to know that he's a wealthy guy. The moment that he was looking at me, I felt that my heart was actually softening up for him, and he said, "Come and sit right next to me." And I was now acting as if I was a zombie. After I had kissed him, Brother Nashi, I don't even know what happened. I blacked out. Even right now, I ask myself, how did I leave that restaurant that we were? How did I even get into his car? But when someone is using his charms on you so that you can be more like a zombie, you can't even remember anything. I do not remember anything. It is like maybe this guy drugged me or something, but I think that he used his charms on me. When I woke up, Brother Nashi, I found myself naked in the bushes. That guy was nowhere to be found. My handbag had gone missing. Even the money, the other one that I had in my bra, it had also gone missing. This guy, he was nowhere to be found. I was close to this other small river that is called Mukuvisi. And when I looked at my private part, I saw that this guy, he had made love to me without using any protection at all, because even his semen was still coming out of my private parts. I started to scream in pain because this guy had stolen all my money, the one that I had worked hard for about 5 months. The phone that I had was stolen. The money was also stolen. He only left $5 for me so that I can catch a taxi to return back home. Looking at myself, I then went to that river. I went into the Mukovisi River. Then I started to bath myself. For my boyfriend, that gardener who works next door, he really thinks that I still have that money, and I didn't even tell him that this money got stolen, because I am scared that if I tell him that the money got stolen, he's going to ask me, how did your money get stolen? And I have to tell him that I ended up sleeping with a man that I had just met in town. So this is my own story, Brother Nashi. I just want the other women out there to be very careful, especially when you are going around in the CBD, because this guy, I know for a fact that he used his charms on me. The moment that he said hi, when I responded to him, it was as if I was attracted to him. But I swear to you, when I looked at him, I saw that he looked very demonic. But what surprised me was that how can someone look so demonic and at the same time you find him to be very attractive? What pains me the most is that I do not have any idea how we got out of the restaurant and how I ended up being in the bushes, lying there in the bushes naked. Just imagine if he was a ritualist who wanted to harvest my body parts. I'm sure he would have cut off maybe my breast, even my private parts, without me even noticing that this was what was happening to me. That is my own story, Brother Nashi. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear sister. Strange things do happen in this world.